guess what? It's well past 10 o'clock at night, and it's the weekly news review and opinion roundup of the news of the world and roundabout. But we're going to do it in a way that I did it last week, which is fast and fun. At least fun where we can do fun, because obviously some of the stuff we do isn't fun because it's about stuff that's horrible, horrendous, and not good at all. Obviously we're going to talk about Biden, due to the fact that Biden, as breaking news, removed himself from being in the nomination, or removed himself from the nomination of the presidency, or whatever. NE, welcome back. Alan as well, hello. Why, hello. Won't be on for long, just checking in. Hey, don't worry about it. Nice to see you. Forgot to ask you last time, how's David? You've not mentioned him for a while. Dave. Just hope I haven't said something I shouldn't have said, but fingers crossed everything will be fine. So yeah, if you've not joined us before, this is a podcast and a video on YouTube, both of which can be watched live. Frequency, Daddy's here. Yes. Hi, I must be Daddy, because I'm like the oldest person here. Almost. But yeah, so we've got 3 people in the chat. If you join the chat, you will get a mention at the end of the broadcast. Even if I don't mention you whilst you're in the chat, because I'm doing something else, I will mention you at the end, so you still get a name check in that there thingamabob. He's okay, got his hernia fixed at 12 months. Working at their units. Alright, excellent. I don't even know what a hernia is, to be fair, but so I'm glad he's got it fixed. Don't tell me what a hernia is, I'm squeamish. I'm doing a live broadcast on that there YouTube. So as I was saying, yeah, if you want to listen to my thoughts over the last, getting on for 3 years now, then check out the playlists. Not all of them are available on podcast. If you're watching live, join in the chat, give us your opinions. They may or may not agree with mine, that's entirely your choice. The whole point is we start talking about things that are important to us individually and need to be chatted about. Let's get to business, let's do the dangerous one chat. Yeah, indeed. Hi, Kelly Rollo. Do you know, last week we were after that Euros game. Yeah, I did it before the Euros game because I knew the Euros game would have been a thing. As it happened, it wasn't a thing at all. Well, it was a thing, but it wasn't a good thing. I didn't watch it, obviously. I think I picked out my grey hair, or I did something, anyway. No, I'll still be doing that now, to be fair. Anyway, let's get on with it, shall we? I think everyone's here. IT as well, hope you're good. And Angela as well. And has anyone seen or heard from... Has anyone heard from Elaine recently? We are missing Elaine. She's not been around for a while, a bit worried now. People in the shop are even asking where she is. So if anyone knows, then please let us know. If you've got contact with her, then contact her and just let us know that we're asking about her or worried about her. He said woof woof woof. Well, that's just greedy. We normally do 2 woofs. Anyway, curtailed. Oh, Stephen as well. Yep, hello. Crikey. So yeah, Kelly's here as well. And Rollo. Right then. Stephen, I passed my driving test on Friday. Oh, well done you. Well done you. Super duper news. Of course it means I'm going to have to sell my car now, particularly if you live close to me, because you're obviously going to be dangerous on the road. All new drivers are. Mind you, I'm getting old. I guess I am as well. But yeah, congrats and all that stuff in it. So, biggest stories of the week. So this is the bit that I'm ignoring. So I'm going to go for the week's news review and opinion roundup. I'll bring Rollo in to come and see you. Yay! Oscar Drive, never been a bigger menace than Elder. Oi! Any. Crack it. Right, everyone said hello to each other. So let's crack on, shall we? Monday the 15th of July. be fair, it seems like a lifetime ago. Republicans endorse Trump as the candidate just days after the assassination attempt. J.D. Vance is running with him as the vice president wants to be. He once said that Britain will be the first Muslim country to have nukes. He also said that he hated Trump as well. So it just shows how things can change. The full story about the Britain being the first country, Muslim country, to have nukes, I think was a dig at Sadiq Khan, and also the fact of the number of people coming into the country who are of Muslim orientation. If that's how the rest of the world is seeing us, then we're definitely doing something wrong. However, America's got a similar problem with people coming from South America and Mexico. I still believe that all this is part of a dilution of countries' identities in order to make it easier to control various countries due to the fact that it's a very mixed thing. Anyway, body found a month after a major search started for Jay Slater, the 19-year-old. Initial things said that he may have fallen. A man is in court for the double murder of two men whose bodies were found in suitcases in Bristol, and also body parts found at an apartment in London. And a cave found on the moon could be the site of Moonbase Alpha, as in 1999 Space, you know, the one that blew up and forced the moon out of orbit. We never found out what happened to the Earth. I imagine it was destroyed, because we need the moon in order to keep the water circulating, because it's gravitational pull, etc, etc, etc. A cave found on the moon, yes, a moon cave you could say. But yeah, there you go. Tuesday the 16th, Welsh Labour First Minister resigns finally. Vaughan Gething announced he was resigning after 4 colleagues quit. And this is a month after the loss of a vote of no confidence. So they're looking now, this is Labour, remember, looking for a third leader in the last 24, well, in this year, in 2024, the third leader. And they were slagging off the Tories for having how many PMs in 2 years. The family of Jay Slater say their hearts are broken after confirmation that the body found is that of the 19-year-old. I downloaded Space 1999, the whole season, the whole series. I watched 1999. My favourite spaceships of all time are the Eagles, which are basically scaffolding with like a pointy bit at the front and engine bits at the back. And yeah, I loved them. Much better than the UFO spaceships that only had one nuclear missile to fire. Once they fired that, they were defenceless. But yeah, all from the same people, which is Jerry Anderson. Him of Fireball XL5, which I'm currently re-watching. It's on Talking Movies, or something like that. Along with Captain Scarlet. Captain Scarlet. Trump gets a hero's welcome in first public appearance since he was shot at the Republicans' convention. He had a bandaged ear. To be fair, I thought the bandage on his ear was quite minimal. I would have imagined he'd come on looking like a mummy with 2 little slots for his eyes, just to prove a point he'd been shot at. There were more questions about the known how the gunman could get so close to shoot Trump. Police say there were no clues to the intentions of said potential assassin. Over 50 dead, including 17 in designated safety zone. This is in Gaza, and this is by Israel. You know, the war criminals at the moment, who are even more war criminals than bloody not Ukraine. God, I'm having a Biden moment there. Than Vladimir Putin. Strictly Come Dancing is in crisis over conduct of male dancers, one of whom apparently may or may not have kicked one of the celebrities. I must admit there are a few celebrities I wouldn't mind giving a boot to. Gareth Southgate, he's not one of them, resigns after 8 years in charge of the England football squad, and remains the most successful football manager since Attlee, I think it was. Was it Attlee? who was the manager in 1966 when England won the World Cup. Got us to numerous semi-finals, 2 European Cup finals, both of which we lost. But yeah, I think he did well, and I think he got a lot of stick for being an idiot. There we go. My grandma and granddad at 24/7 drove me insane. Why did his mate come forward about the video call weeks after he was reported missing? Said he heard him slip down rocks. Indeed, Kelly, that was a good question. It will all come out, Kelly. All the shame of them kicking each other. Alf Ramsey, that was it. Ramsey. He was the most successful football manager for the. I mean, I don't give a flying left monkey's dangly bit about football, but it is, you know, exciting. Anyway, Wednesday, the 17th of July, 2024. The King's Speech had 39 bills put forward by Labour in their new government. Quote, mission-led is stability, and that's the cornerstone of what they're doing. They're going to get Britain building, they're planning reform, improve railways by privatising them. Well, that went well previously, didn't it? It's going to become not British Rail, but Great British Railways. What a bollocks. And they seek to strengthen the borders. Well, that's untrue, because Keir Starmer, you know, the guy who let off Jimmy Savile when he was the head of the Crime Prosecution Service, CPS, actually is quite fond of people coming over from abroad. So yeah, lies and more lies. Prove me wrong, Labour. US Secret Service leader said health and safety concerns about the roof slant meant no agents were on it. This is the roof that the would-be assassin crawled up. You've seen videos of it now. Police snipers were actually inside the building, but were not allowed on the roof of the building because of concerns over health and safety. Not necessarily the health and safety of Donald Trump, or any politician for that matter. It doesn't matter whether you agree with the politicians or not. This kind of thing shouldn't be happening. But the snipers who work for the Secret Service, who were on the roof, who actually shot the would-be assassin dead, well, their roof was steeper than the one that he was on. So where was health and safety on that one? Yeah, actually typed in, well, I wrote WTAF, what the absolute is going on with the, I mean, we think the police over here is bad, but Jesus. Lick the like, it's fun, it's free, go on, just do it. Lick the like. Yeah. You're talking about getting the channel bigger. I showed you the video I did on what's it called? TikTok, that had over 100 and, well, I think it's 130,000 views now. Beds in a cinema, who knew? Thursday, the 18th of July 2020. Zelensky must be confused by the 4th UK Prime Minister in 4 years. Says, well, no one. Now, if Trump wins the election, he said he's going to sort the war out very quickly. Well, it was an interview with Chris Mason on the BBC. And Zelensky said he wasn't confused by it, he was used to leaders changing all the time. But he will not give land to Vladimir Putin as a peace process because, well, he's right. If you give him what land he's got now and that becomes part of Russia, then what's going to stop him in a few years' time doing the same again? He does say, though, that he doesn't, no, Trump says he doesn't care what happens to Ukraine, which is true. Angela's off. Barack Obama reportedly says Biden must quit. Biden's test positive for COVID. Trump's in Milwaukee, and the speech will be very lovely. 12 trillion in rare earth minerals in Ukraine. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Trump says he will stop the war in one day with a phone call. Well, he'd have to make at least two, let's be honest. First report from COVID inquiry says there was too much confidence in the NHS to cope with the pandemic. This was by the government, but this was a worldwide problem. And as I've said before, there was also criticism on the lack of PPE that we had. However, if the Daily Mail in, say, 2017 found that the government had, say, 2 or 3 warehouses full of PPE, all hell would have been paid. What are you wasting money for that for? That money, all that stock in that warehouse could be used on nurses and doctors, blah, 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 blah. So you run on the when needed policy, which I think all countries did, and then when it was needed in excess, the little companies who were producing the PPE at a nice steady rate suddenly couldn't cope, and that's where it all went wrong. Not just in the UK, there were inquiries going on in America, Australia, and various other countries around the world. Violence and disorder in Leeds, including a police car being overturned and a bus set on fire as well, described by the police as pockets of disorder. Now, looking at it, there was no pockets of disorder whatsoever. It did look like it was due to the social services trying to put some children into safety who were at risk or perceived risk at their parents' home, and that's what kicked it all off. To me, it was just an excuse to have a bit of a riot. Protesters have been jailed. Extinction Rebellion Just Stop Oil protesters were jailed 4 to 5 years each for basically disrupting what was going on. By all means protest, but don't do it at the expense of other people's inconvenience. If you're protesting about Just Stop Oil, then go and get yourselves outside oil refineries and protest there. Do not block the M25. Do not block the centre of London, the centre of Manchester. It's just, yeah, I can't tell you that. Don't like them. We don't talk politics on this channel, so we talk about Friday the 19th. A software bug causes worldwide IT outage, cancelling flights, GP appointments, banking, and even some TV channels. Could be some time until everything's up and running. The company involved did an update. They're called CrowdStrike. And they admit that they accidentally caused the worldwide meltdown of IT systems. But it does prove a fact, which has been going on for a while, and I'll be writing about it in the paper this week, that we rely too much on the internet for daily life. And yeah, okay, this may or may not have been an innocent mistake, but you get Russia or China or someone getting involved in this online sabotage, and literally the world grinds to a halt, and you win the war. A Wall Street journalist is sentenced to prison for spying in Russia, obviously kangaroo court because it's in Russia. UN's top court says Israel occupation of Palestine land, or Palestinian land, is unlawful, and it's treated with contempt from Benjamin Netanyahu, who says, how can we occupy our own land? Fails to remember that that isn't actually their own land, and the Israelis with him in charge are just land grabbing everywhere, and war criminals. It's not just violence, but every aspect of the occupation is illegal and almost apartheid-like. However, no doubt America will support Israel, and none of this will ever come to anything. It's just basically name-calling. Zelensky meets the cabinet, in the cabinet room, one of the first leaders ever to do that, and he's asking to use the weapons given by Europe further into Russia rather than just on the borders of Russia, i.e. where they're getting their missiles that are hitting Ukraine fired from, which is well within Russian territory. Of course, it does open up a whole massive amount of can of worms, but we'll see how that goes. Biden, meanwhile, this is not yesterday, Friday, is looking forward to getting back on the election campaign after recovering from his COVID, where he's currently isolating at home. Saturday the 20th of July. Microsoft says 8.5 million devices were affected by the global IT outage, including, like I said before, GPs, pharmacists. Over 2,000 flights were grounded, and it's going to take days to get everything back up. Israel admits that they have struck oil refineries in Yemen against the Houthis after drone attacks from the Houthis into Israel. Man charged with arson after riots. This was the guy who was seen setting fire to a bus using a cigarette lighter, which kind of makes you wonder how safe buses are. And Ray Reardon, the snooker player, is dead, aged 91. He's the one who had his hair swept back and always looked a bit like Dracula. I think he was actually, his nickname was Dracula or something like that. Sunday the 21st of July. The BMA say doctors and GP surgeries cannot operate normally since the outage, and it will take possibly weeks to get things back online. And then there's some other story. Biden removes himself for the race to become President of the United States of America at last. Kamala Harris may take over. Trump says she will be easier to beat. And it's the first time since 1968 that an incumbent, i.e. sitting president, has not stood for re-election in America. How exciting is all that? Vampire. Yes. Which brings us to a video clip of what happened to me that I put up recently. And the question was I mugged or was it teenagers pranking? Either way, I didn't feel overly confident afterwards, and that's why the video looks like it does.
I think I've just been mugged. Well, I say just, a while ago. Currently at Markland Mill. Been walking along the canal. Something I do when the weather's nice. Had my hat on. A load of teenagers come towards me on bikes between Gathurst Bridge and the M6 viaduct. I stood to one side, and lo and behold, my hat was gone. So is that a mugging? I'm not sure. Anyway, they could have been worse. They could have been worse even. They could have pushed me in. One had a motorbike, the others had electric and pedal bikes, and they all thought it was hilarious. I probably would see the funny side if people weren't offended by stuff these days. Anyway, I'm alright. Just a bit fed up. 8 o'clock it happened on Friday when the Lavens were playing Robin Park. I think I've just been mugged.
So there you go then. Feral youth, you're right. Feral youth. They know because, more so now, with Starmer in charge, that, you know, insignificant. So I said, imagine your kids doing that. Yeah, exactly. That's one reason why I did the video, just to, I knew that the police wouldn't do anything because it wasn't. Was it a crime? Was it a crime? I don't know. But yeah, it just made me feel a bit uneasy. No father figure in their lives. Well, get them on this channel. I'll be their father figure and say, look, you little tosspot, stop doing that. Stop playing with yourselves as well, Jesus. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? To the news that makes you go, I've dropped the American news this week because it's all out of date now. The whole thing is completely out of date, and I've covered it in the main news. So we're going to go straight to, it's not even that, some of them need a belt like I got. Well, that did you no good, did it, any? Sheesh. Sheesh. Pillar of society. Sheesh. Pfiff. Pfiff. Anyway, we're on the news that makes you go, I still want you all. No, it makes you go, no, you mean like a telling off. Yeah, something like that, telling off, yeah, go with telling off, shall we? A belt is a figure of speech, I mean. Well, you really said hats off to them lads, yeah. My hat off being the operative hat off. Anyway, this is the news that makes you go or ooh. And we start off with, do you ever check where your fruit and veg is produced when you buy it? Asking for a friend. Grown in SC ABC Chernobyl. Could possibly go wrong. These carrots are, well, they're glowing examples of carrots. They've also got 3 noses and 4 eyes. Meanwhile, in Australia, a match was disrupted by a flock, do you call them a flock, of emus running around the field for a little while. It was very amusing. Chernobyl carrots. Banks to refund 28 million Australian dollars to customers on low income. A report has revealed banks have been systematically charging high fees to low income earners. 28 million Australian dollars, about £4.50, will be refunded to customers after it was found ANZ, Bendigo and Adelaide Bank, CBA and Westpac kept at least 2 million Australians on low incomes, including many relying on welfare payments, in high fee accounts. So the bank's not being honest, but at least they're being held to account in Australia, whereas over here they don't bother. Random face number 3, the legendary Fred Dibner. Fred Dibner, for those of you who don't know, was an extraordinary guy. He basically was a steeplejack being, you know, these tall chimneys that all mills had at the time. He'd repair them, but he'd also knock them down as well, and he wouldn't use explosive. He'd literally either chip them down a brick at a time, like an example here. No safety harness, there's no hard hats, not that falling that far would help you with the hard hats. And the ladders just kind of strapped on willy-nilly. He'd knock them down, and then alternatively he would literally punch holes at the bottom of them, fill the bottom up with wood, and then burn the supports he put in to hold them up, but we stood right next to them until he heard them crashing down. He was also a very good architect and engineer as well, and had a few TV shows on, particularly You and Yesterday, well, it was called Yesterday at the time, and the BBC, and we get a few of the videos in as well. If you ever get a chance, if you're into architecture, engineering and characters, watch a Fred Dibner programme. Sadly passed away a few years ago. Lived in Bolton, which is literally a stone's throw away from here, and I did once park up outside his house. Not because I wanted to park up inside, I wasn't stalking or anything. It was only after I'd eaten my lunch that I realised I was parked up outside his house. But yeah, really, really good guy. Chernobyl carrots probably wouldn't risk it. Earth is probably about 1 billion trillion square miles, and they grow carrots in Chernobyl. Dream frequency, love Fred. How did he didn't fall off them chimneys? I don't know. He was fearless. He was fearless as well. He was one of those guys who, you know, you'll never see again. And I mean, I think the nearest thing I got to was John Noakes on the BBC. He was a Blue Peter presenter in the 70s when I watched Blue Peter, and he went up on top of the Trafalgar Square monument, Nelson's Column, and it was before health and safety and all that kind of thing, and this was a TV presenter. This was not Fred Dibner, and he went up the ladders, like you can just see there at the edge of the on the picture. I don't know who took the picture, to be fair. That's quite an impressive picture. I assume it's from the mill. Anyway, they went up the column, and then the ladders went like that to get onto the plinth. And John Noakes actually went up. No safety harness, no helmet, no rehearsal, nothing. Just did it. He also went down a bobsleigh and nearly killed himself because the bobsleigh overturned, and he ended up with a huge amount of bruises and fractures and whatnot as well. He was a brilliant presenter. He climbed with a hangover, he did indeed. Drone took the pick. But yeah, John Noakes passed away as well a few years ago. But yeah, it's we don't get people like Fred Dibner anymore. Mind you, we don't have chimneys like that to climb anymore. Meanwhile, my favourite artist is Banksy, and there's a nice Banksy picture there, being admired by a gentleman walking past with his headphones on, listening to probably Banksy music. This is Australia. A $400 million Australian dollars, so about £450, construction giant collapses. Thankfully not the buildings, but this is another. In China at the moment there are lots of development companies and construction companies going bust, mainly due to the fact that they've built these cities and towns and things, and either people haven't moved into them, or once they've been looked at, they're not safe for people to move into, so they have to be demolished. So loads of companies have gone bust, but it's a worldwide thing at the minute, and this 400 million Australian dollar construction company has gone into administration. I'm not saying that all politicians may or may not be corrupt. However, anyone else join the dots between millionaire Dale Vince donating millions of pounds to the Labour Party and the lifting of the onshore wind turbines in England? On a side note, Vince happens to be the owner of Ecotricity, who manufactures wind turbines. Really? Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? He'll be getting a bloody knighthood next, won't he? Meanwhile, in the world of Formula 1, Pierre Gasly has a 50 grid penalty from the British Grand Prix, which means he's starting the race from London. Now, I actually did the show after the race, but I only saw this later on. And yeah, if you watch Formula 1, you get penalties for like replacing your engine after so many engines and bits and pieces and doing wrong things in previous races. But getting a 50 place grid penalty when there's only 20 cars on the track, and you generally start, if it's Gasly, because the car is Gasly, you will end up at best 15th place. So 50 place penalty means he would generally start from London, so it's a bit of a trek to Silverstone. And then I saw this, I think someone on here actually sent me this, but this is hilarious. The remake of Grease looks crap, and it's a pride walk in Camden with Sir Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner all dressed up in pride colours, all in pride things, and she's right around in a pride flag, and it does look like they're singing to each other. And I must admit, if it was the Grease remake, I wouldn't be watching it. Meanwhile, this is when Biden tested positive for COVID. President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19, according to the President and CEO of UNISTO, Janet Murugya. The news comes after the President publicly defied calls for him to step away from the 2024 presidential election. Carl Beattie, he's one of the guys, he's married to Yvette Fielding, who do Most Haunted. But every now and then he puts up something that's amusing. And Marvel's new superhero films looks like it's going to be epic. And it's, of course, Toilet Man. Or maybe it's just in Japan or China, where they put an English translation underneath. Biden's more than done. Biden's resigned. We've already covered that. Have I got news for you? Unemployment rates remain at 4.4% despite the recent influx of jobless people onto the market. And then you've got 3 former Conservative MPs. But you've got to remember that they might have lost their jobs, but 3 other people would have took their jobs. So that's why the jobs thing remains the same. Or am I overthinking this? Toilet Man does the number 2. Bob Newhart passes away. Actor and comedian Bob Newhart, best known for his series The Bob Newhart Show, and later his role as Papa Elf in the 2003 Christmas classic Elf, never seen it, has died. He was aged 94. He'd had a series of short illnesses. Sadly, he didn't make it to season 2. Incredible footage shows how close Trump was to being shot. So Trump moved his head. Now, whether it was to look at what people were pointing at, i.e. a gunman, or not, I don't know. But you see at the bottom picture, can you see the bottom picture? Yeah, you can. The actual angle of the bullet as worked out by AI. So if he'd have had his head the other way, the bullet would have took the back of his head off, basically. Yeah, it is a good innings, you're right. I'm hoping I get there. I've not got long to go, to be fair, to get there. So yeah, fingers crossed and all that. Here we go. This is Australia. A major tech issue causes global outage. It's developing a major tech issue right now is affecting hundreds of major businesses across the globe. So everyone who signed up to the company and more. A major tech outage unfolding. Lots of the blue screen of death that you normally get when you've got a virus. And I don't mean COVID. Anyone know how Liz Truss's first day at Microsoft is going? Which is a dig at the outages and the ineptitude of Liz Truss, and the fact that all the devices that involved in this are Microsoft orientated, using Windows 94 ironically during frequency. Well done. CrowdStrike is the name of the company, and they are actively working with customers impacted by a defect found in a single content update for Windows hosts. This is not a security incident or a cyber attack, says George Kurtz. I can imagine people may have changed that name slightly. Australia. Yesterday we saw the importance of having both cash and card. Let us hope it was a valuable lesson. This is what I'm writing about in the paper this week after I finished here. Yes, it is vitally important that we keep cash going, and maybe it's time to not go to places that only accept card to get them back to doing cash as well. Do you feel old yet? Well, you will now. On this day, 1987, New Order released True Faith. This was a couple of days ago, so it's even older than that. One of the weirdest videos I've ever seen, but I still love the video, particularly this bit when them two are slapping each other for no apparent reason. They're doing it in times of the music though, so that probably makes sense. But yeah, 1987, so that makes it nearly 40 years old. Is it over 40 years? No, nearly 40 years old. You were 15 then? I was well over 15. Yeah. Anyway. Scorching heat wave to bake UK with 31 degrees centigrade, quite likely, as Brits stock up on beer. England fans have been left twiddling their thumbs now that the Euros are over, but a 30-degree heat wave approaches. It seems many have dreamed it's time to get out the barbecue and stock up on the cold ones. We're not Australia, we don't refer to them as the cold ones. We do that to politicians because they are cold. Intriguing England boss would give immense World Cup hope, but there's a catch. Experts say appointing a new and intriguing style of manager as Gareth Southgate's England's replacement could offer an immense chance to win the 2026 World Cup, but not everything is as simple as it seems. Well, obviously not, otherwise everyone would win the World Cup. I mean, come on. You've got to remember, it's only the Euros we got into the final of. I mean, there was no Brazil, there was no Argentina, there was no other country that I could think of. America are doing quite well in their soccer states at the minute. Jay Slater's family's next steps confirmed as mum admits she is falling apart. Jay Slater's mum Debbie revealed she has to keep herself busy after the month-long search for a son ended in tragedy, and as the family planned to bring the Lancashire lad home. It does seem to turn out to be a tragic case, but still, I don't think we know everything about it. I think it's very weird. King Charles gives honours to rare goat that had to be hidden from the Nazis. It's now the Royal Golden Guernsey goat, after King Charles gave the rare bovine breed a title, as the animal's owner revealed he washed the beast in head and shoulders for her big moment. So yeah, the king is not insane. I mean, the fact he's given an honour to a goal, that's perfectly normal, isn't it? Liverpool ace Alan Hansen looks great, inciting weeks after serious illness. Liverpool, Scotland and match of the day icon Alan Hansen spent more than a week in hospital with a serious illness, but made a remarkable recovery. Is now even back out on the golf course. Now, no disrespect to Alan Hansen. I mean, it's glad he's out and about playing golf, but I wouldn't say he looks great in that picture. Living Nostradamus predicted Euro 24 final results and real reason England lost. England were doomed from the start playing against a team in red shirts, says Brazilian psychic affectionately dubbed Living Nostradamus, but insists there's another reason they lost. Yeah, that was the fact they were shit. Next, I don't even watch football and I knew that. Inside murder hotel, 6 people found foaming at the mouth 5 floors up. 6 people have been found dead at the Hyatt Owen Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand, in what authorities believe was a mass poisoning after cyanide was discovered in their coffee cups. Yeah, that was a weird one. Not heard anything else since, so we'll keep an eye out for that, see if there's any more information. Brit was not abducted. I'll rephrase that. Brit was not abducted by UFO and left with damaged boots as humanoid examined him. An author of a new UF book has spilled the beans on some alleged UK abductions, including the case of police officer Alan Godfrey, who had a strange experience while looking for some lost cows. Talking shit. Cow shit. Jack Osborne's, God, he's changed. Terrifying experience with a shape-shifting skinwalker beast. No, it was your dad. No, actually, no. It was more likely. Shape-shifting, skin-altering beast is more likely his mum with all that plastic surgery. Anti-aging Holy Grail drug found to extend life by 25% and prevent cancer. Rats involved in the study were dubbed supermodel grannies after an injection of a breakthrough anti-aging drug gave the rodents a more youthful appearance and better overall health. Not to be confused with elf. As one career ends, another career ends. Gareth Southgate lookalike says Journey has run its course and shaves off his beard. The era of Gareth Southgate in the England hot seat is over, and so too is the top lookalike's career as a doppelganger who went to the bathroom to do one thing following the manager's bombshell resignation. He shaved himself all over. Ooh, kinky. Jay Slater's mum asked for more GoFundMe donations for a funeral he deserves. How much money do they need? They've got £70,000 already. No. I'm sorry. Tragic as it is, no. Bloke dubbed Steven Seagal, after scaling post to rescue bird after 6 pints. Now this is what you get when you have seagulls that have been drinking. A guy who appeared to be on a night out in Glasgow scaled a massive lamppost like a superhero to rescue a trapped seagull, leaving some questioning in his sobriety. Now I've seen the video of this, it is quite impressive, be fair. Even till his deathbed it was alleged he stole some watch. Yeah. I smell a rat in the Jay Slater case as well. But like I say, no doubt we may never know. Grange Hill star John Alford, 52, charged with sex offences involving a child. Alford is accused of 4 counts of sexual activity with a child. He's also charged with sexual assault and assault by penetration relating to a second female, the CPS said. He denies all the charges. Now, John Alford was famous for being the cocky little kid on Grange Hill when I used to watch it. A little bit younger than me, but you could relate to them 100%. And he was the cocky little one who used to run around with that guy who had the glasses on, who was a bit posh. But since then, he went on to be on London's Burning, one of the firefighters on London's Burning, and then his life just descended into drugs, alcohol, and now alleged sex offences. Always makes me worry about people who become famous young. Having said that, A lot of the other stars are doing okay for themselves. Are you supposed to be a wrong 'un? Yeah, absolutely. Flying Ant Day, it's the UK like a biblical plague. How to avoid apocalyptic swarm. Now, because England is the way it is and Britain is the way it is, we normally get this a few days or even a couple of weeks after the south get it, because the heat and the thing works its way up. But it's that time of year when apocalyptic swarms of flying ants descend on the UK and plague Brits as the winged critters take to the skies in the search for mates. I'm sick to death of those ants there. I've not seen any flying ants this year though, so I'm doing alright. A woman takes Polaroid photo of friends, then captures spooky ghosts behind them. No, it's probably a double exposure. It's a Polaroid. They're not the most bestest cameras. Stubborn seagull cost council taxpayers £460,000 after refusing to budge from a roof. A seagull refusing to budge from its nest on a theatre in Newport, Wales, has ended up costing the council taxpayer a fortune after the bird delayed a £19.7 million project because you are not allowed, even if it's a seagull, to destroy the habitat of nesting birds. Who knew? Alton Towers hires a grand 72 to make sure roller coasters are thrilling enough. While some grands may enjoy a spot of bingo or a bit of knitting, one adrenaline junkie, 72-year-old, has landed herself a new job as the first ever chief thrill seeker at Alton Towers. I suppose the thing is, if she's excited but doesn't die, then it's perfect. And he got dehydrated walking 100 miles back to his Airbnb in Tenerife. Jeez, yeah. UFO expert worried alien craft followed me home after shooting film on ETs. No. We're all often told not to take our work home with us, but for one avid UFO expert, it was seemingly made hard to do after returned from a shoot to film a UFO returning from a shoot to find a UFO loitering near his house. I had to scream, bullshit, because it was. Inside UK's Bermuda Triangle, where hundreds of UFOs are seen every year. Bonneville is a small village of the south of Scotland that has been the forefront of thousands of mysterious UFO sightings, with around about 300 reported each year. None of which are true, obviously. Microsoft outage sparks World War III fears as people blame Russia and aliens. The global Microsoft outage has seen tech systems go down and cause worldwide disruption. Naturally, it wasn't long before conspiracy theorists made their own assumptions. I personally think it probably was a cock-up somewhere, but it does show how reliant we are on the internet when we shouldn't be. Kew Gardens 50p coin with ultra rare design sells for £7,000 at an auction. There's just 210,000 of the Kew Gardens 50p cards out there in circulation, but now an ultra rare version is causing quite the meltdown after a TikTok user said it sold for £7,000. You could sell anything if you wanted to. You could sell anything if you wanted to. Minnie's little finger on that. Yeah, it's what's he called? Philistine Phil says I got to do it. Target on Keir Starmer as nutters could be inspired by Donald Trump shooting. Since the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, there have been calls for tighter security to be implemented for global events and leaders like Sir Keir Starmer, who now has a target on him. Now, I don't agree with Keir Starmer. I didn't agree with Rishi Sunak, to be fair, but of the two, I prefer Rishi Sunak. But no politician should be open to targeting of any kind. Maybe the odd Q, or as I did with Tony Blair, just cross my arms and stare at him and not move when he waved to me and said hello, and then he stopped smiling. and then they didn't look at me again. I've told that story many times, I'm not going to tell it again. But yeah, it is weird how it goes. Anyway, oh, that's not that one. We'll go to this one. Now this is maps, but it's not a map we're looking at. What I want to look at is where are we? Just bear with me. Ignore the map. It's not what we're looking at. This is what we're looking at. This is the resignation or intent to resign as President Joe Biden. And my fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years we have made great progress as a nation. Today America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, i.e. those that were at the nuclear tests, I assume, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalised and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honour of my life to serve you as President, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as President for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me re-elected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all of this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today, what I always have, there is nothing America can't do. When we do it together, we just have to remember we are the United States of America. So that was Joe Biden's not quite farewell, but certainly the beginning of his farewell. Joe was a joke. Trump for president. I'm up for building a wall. I'm a trained bricklayer. I do 1,000 for 500, so half price. So I'm watching. Whack that thumb. It's unbreakable. It's free, and you know you want to, because you want to. Which brings us to the breaking news of the day. So what's been going on whilst I've been going on? Oh, well, I like that one. I'll use that one again. What's been going on while I've been going on? Autism can be reversed, scientists discover. Yeah, get a big brick and just smack someone over the head. Stewards reach verdict in Max Verstappen-Lewis Hamilton collision. Both dirty drivers. I respect one more than the other. Yeah, it's Max, obviously. The moon is slowly drifting away from Earth, and it is beginning to impact us. Probably not. Manchester Airport update after passengers hit by huge queues and delays following the not the pandemic, the thingamabobby. James Webb Telescope detects a structure that should not exist. I'm going to leave it there. How exciting is that? That was a week ago though, so it's not hardly breaking news, is it? Come on. John Lewis launches repair service to rival M&S. What? Oh. 9 tips for sleeping in a heat wave. One thing I don't do is open the window. but I do sleep in the nuddy and with a very minimal amount of sheets on me as well. What is Ghost charging, and how do half of EV owners using it get priority? No, I don't care. What British tourists need to know about the monster tick and how to remove them. Yeah, because if you have a tick on your skin and you yank it off, its head and its mandibles and everything will stay in your skin, and therefore it would basically infect and possibly kill you. Prince Albert statue on Kensington Gardens, it's now deemed offensive for racial stereotypes. Great, brilliant. Police arrest 6 in murder investigation after teenage boy shot dead in a park. I think someone mentioned that a second ago. Rachel Reeves hints about above inflation public sector pay rises. How they're going to pay for it? They're going to screw us all by increasing car tax, including tax on what deemed electric cars and energy efficient cars. It's the only way they can do it. They're also going to put up petrol prices. They're also going to put up tax on cigarettes, vapes, alcohol, and various other things. They're going to screw us over, basically. British woman and husband found dead in boats after Atlantic crossing attempt. Oh, that's not good. Labour review of behaviour in schools must not eradicate progress. Prince Philip named in secret FBI documents about Profumo sex scandal. Whoa. Royal family do seem to get themselves involved in these things, don't they? Hello, Prince Andrew, how are you? Full list of everything in UK and the world hit by IT outage, including flights, airports, trains, NHS, and supermarkets, banks, sport, and loads of other things. We shouldn't rely on the internet too much. Man City sent fresh Premier League hearing message ahead of upcoming 115 charges verdict. Chancellor Rachel Reeves promises big bang for pensioners in bid to boost growth. So basically she's going to rob the people who've worked for years of their pension pots. Joe Biden's statement in full as he pulls out a presidential race. We've already done that. Boots to shut 300 shops by end of summer. Full list of stores hit. Ryanair issues word warning to anyone flying with black, navy or grey suitcase. What? I'm a French woman in my 40s, that's why I'm going to live longer than a woman in England, says some cocky French woman. UK holiday makers warned as Spain issues red alert, that's a heat warning. Huge queues in the Arndale Centre as UK's biggest Korean supermarket opens in the Arndale Centre, Manchester. And then the 2024 Hungarian Grand Prix. It looks like Joe Biden isn't the only one to step down to let someone else get through. Lando Norris, he got told to move out of the way to let Oscar Pastrami get through and win the race. Yeah, whatever. Where are we? I think that's it for the breaking news. Oh, Avanti Railways to stay private until 2026, despite its dire cancellation record. Now the new government, Labour government, have said they're going to privatise all the rail networks, but they can only do it when their contract ends for the privatisation companies. So yeah, they have 2026. Adidas pulls unacceptable Bella Hadid advert following a backlash. Okay. Thousands of Germans surrender driving licence for free public transport. Oh, it's an interesting way of doing it. And that's it, I think. What you lot have been talking about while I've been away. crash in Wakefield, Barnsley, 6 dead. That's not good. That fire in Blackpool was terrible. The poor babies and the parents were killed in the fire. Tax per mile, yes. Dream frequency. This is the cameras that are still up for the CAS ULEZ thing. So yeah, there you go. That's all we've been on for. We've done an hour. I'm trying to get these down to an hour because they were going on too long previously. Previously on these shows, they went on too long. So yeah, we've got 7 people watching at the moment. So we've got a chat rate of 1. We've had 35 views, averages 11.51. We've had 5 likes. Average now is 12 minutes. Got 8 people watching. I can't do Saturdays because I've got other stuff going on Saturdays. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life. Like I say, there was pollution, but now they're taxing everyone. Yes, apparently electric cars are going to have to pay ULEZ charge, as well as petrol and diesel cars in London in 2026. I'll finish before 11, well, just after 11. It's not too bad. I might do it a bit earlier in future, but it depends how things go. Having a few butties in bed. Okay, don't have a few butties in bed. The crumbs get in the way. Crumbs get in the way. They get in the way. Anyway, a big shout out to everyone who's joined in the chat today. So Alan Barton, NE, Dream Frequency, Kelly Buxton, Stephen and Rollo. Yeah, sorry, you have to say that to Rollo, otherwise he gets upset because you've not spoke to him. Rollo. And it also sends, I imagine, Rollo mad, which would obviously be fun for the people who are living with Rollo. To be fair, it's just you lot have been chatting. So yeah, bit of fun, a bit more light-hearted this week as well, despite the tragedies going on around the world. Don't run red lights. No, exactly. That's always a good ethos in life. Anyway, on that shell of bomb, I'm going to shoot off. Hi T as well, by the way. Hope you're good. It's good to see you this week. But yeah. I'm going to shoot off now and write my thing for the paper. JT and Rachel, yeah, they are around, and they'll be around forever. I miss Elaine quite a lot. I don't know what's happened to Elaine. Very worried about Elaine. Anyway, thank you for watching, if indeed you saw. As I always say, I will be seeing you, and until next time,